It's an effort to gauge social and public policy in some of LA's most diverse communities to help navigate the way forward on police reform, immigration, and the COVID-19 response. A survey with the consolidated work of Michael Lawson from the Los Angeles Urban League, Helen Torres with Hope, Hispanas Organized for Political Equality, and Charlie Wu with the Center for Asians United for Self-Empowerment. Mr. Wu, let's start with you. There was a survey that you conducted back in February. I'm interested in the results, because a lot has changed. I'm also interested if you're back in the field with another survey.
Yes, Conan. On the national level, we consider the race relations should be pretty bad, almost by a 2-to-1 margin, that we are not satisfied at the national level about the race relationship. But at the California level, we were sort of marginal, a little bit thinking that things might not be as bad as the national level, but we are quite positive about the race relationship in our own neighborhoods. And when we mention about police reform, what the communities want are fundamental cultural change, systematic change that can only be discussed in different police agencies, because each community have to decide how to go about doing it. And yes, we are going back to explore impact of COVID-19 on different groups, on different age, and men and women, as well as the recent reaction to police brutality. We should have that done maybe in about 3 weeks' time.
To Michael Lawson of the Urban League, while Black Lives Matter is advocating for a 90% reduction in the budget of the LAPD, the Urban League hasn't gone that far. Why is that?
The concept that Black Lives Matter is putting on the table is absolutely correct. We need to take a lot of the activities and responsibilities that we now rely on police to do and give it to other agencies, because these are not necessarily jobs that the police should be doing, and they're not doing it well. What we are proposing is that we look at the police department from top to bottom. It's not just the fact that they are asked to do jobs that they are not trained to do well, but there are so many issues within the police department that need to be addressed and need to be addressed now. And they've been on the table for a long time, and they will continue to be on the table until we get them right. But yes, when they talk about defunding and you focus on the number, but let's focus on the concept. Let's focus on exactly what they are saying, because what they are saying is correct.
What is it that you would like to see happen?
We're talking about changing the culture of the police department from an occupying force to one where they work with the community, so that they know the people in the communities that they're serving. There are programs right now where that is being tried, and it's successful in those communities where that is happening, where police officers are assigned to a particular community for 5 years. They get to know everybody in the community. It's not a situation where they're an occupying force. They are a part of the community, and they work with the community. That's the kind of policing that we're talking about. That kind of policing doesn't require the money that we have been putting into the police department. And again, I say, don't focus on the details of the money, but let's talk about the concept that we're talking about, that will require a complete overhaul of the way the department is run.
So COVID-19, the pandemic, has hit minority communities harder than anybody else. Ms. Torres, how concerned are you about the future impacts of this virus in communities of color?
I am worried about it. I'm in complete agreement with the governor to make it mandatory for everyone to wear masks. Studies have shown that that makes a huge difference. What we're trying to do is get the information out, lead by example when we're in obviously we're not having large events, but we're constantly talking about this through our Zoom, our social media. It's an important part of ensuring that all communities are safe.
Mr. Lawson, I assume you're concerned as well.
We are very concerned about this, and we know that we are losing people faster than anybody else. And so it is important that we look out not only for ourselves, but for our neighbors, our children, our elders. And I'm one of those elders I want you to look out for. So please wear the mask, do the distancing until this thing is over. We've got to take care of each other.
Let's talk about Proposition 209 from 1996, which banned the use of affirmative action in college admissions and state contracts. The legislature is considering putting it back on the ballot, a repeal measure. Mr. Lawson, would you support that idea?
Absolutely. Black and brown people don't have access to credit, don't have access to capital, don't have access to good schools. And you say that, oh, that's a colorblind situation. It's not.
Ms. Torres, would you also like to see affirmative action on the ballot?
I'm in complete support of repealing 209. It's been harmful. It has not supported our society. It has not moved forward Latino and African American children and students in our universities. And it has really stopped the economic progress that we know needs to happen in our communities. So the repeal is necessary. It will create a more equitable society.
This was tried 5 or 6 years ago. Asian Americans in the state pushed back heavily, believing that a repeal of Prop 209 would mean fewer Asian American students at the University of California. Right now, their numbers are twice of their percentage in the state in the demographic makeup. Mr. Wu, have attitudes changed about affirmative action?
There is a fear in the Asian American community just because the overall numbers, in terms of enrollment numbers, looks that we are doing well, but each individual student, individual family, they might have gone through as much of a hardship as other minority groups in a different way. If this is overturned, we really need to look at individuals. And in addition to look at the overall distribution of enrollment from different communities of color.
Thank you very much to all three of you. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you
very much for having us.
We'll have some final comments after this.